about the Scott Walker trial. Now, this is a very important trial because it's not just the police officer in South Carolina that's on trial. It's the entire American criminal justice system that's on trial. The fundamental question this court has to answer is the American criminal justice system inherently racist? And, which is, of course, is a very difficult question. Because if you've seen the whole history of policing of ethnic minorities in United States America, it has a long, complicated, and brutal history. Starting from the days of slavery, all the way up to the Civil War, all the way up to the Civil Rights Movement, and of course the various racial riots has erupted since then, across many cities in the U.S. Newark, New York, Los Angeles, Oakland, and Detroit, and I could go on. And of course, ever since the killing of Trayvon Martin in Florida by Florida's infamous Stand Your Ground law, which is, of course, is in the books in 20 different states. The Stand Your Ground law says in order you need to be able to stand your ground against an invader. Now, defiant self-defense is a problem, because when this white person, Robert Zimmerman, killed Trayvon Martin, he was acquitted. But when Marissa Alexander, who was a black woman, was trying to defend herself against an abusive husband, she was sentenced to 60 years. And of course, Missouri and Ferguson, where the attacks on African Americans there, and of course in Cleveland and New York, when the police officers in the police department in those cities attacked these people, they were innocent people. That means the American criminal justice system, is it racist or not? Because under the U.S. Constitution, under the 7th and 8th Amendment, and the 6th, 7th, and 8th Amendment, I should say, and 4th, 6th, 7th, and 8th Amendment, and 14th Amendment, the criminal justice system should not be racist. The 4th Amendment basically says that everyone has a right to not should be subject to search warrants and arrest warrants. And exclusionary evidence has been established by the Supreme Court since Mack versus Ohio, when that courtroom in Ohio convicted the person on shall we say, dubious, ill-gotten evidence. Now the Fifth Amendment I should have mentioned is no double jeopardy, life or limb. But how come African Americans get stopped over the highway so often? Or Fourteenth Amendment, due process and equal protection clause. How is the system even if protecting people equally? And the 14th Amendment was precisely designed to stop the abuse that happened during the slavery, in the antebellum South. And it's outrageous that we're still talking about it 115 years later. The problem was resolved. And of course, 7th Amendment says everyone has a right to a trial by jury. 8th Amendment says no cruel and unusual punishment. Now, 7th Amendment, cruel and unusual punishment, 7th Amendment says a trial by jury, but is the jury a jury of the peers or the jury of the police? And of course, the 8th Amendment says no unusual punishments. So, choke holding Eric Garner on the streets of New York, does not that constitute cruel and unusual punishment? And the fact that these police officers and the so-called blue wall of silence can get away with these crimes simply because they're police officers shows that above the law. But Nixon, during his trial in Watergate, famously said if the president does it, he's not above the law. And of course, there's an excellent movie on this subject called Frost-Nixon. I'm not going to go into that because that's a different video topic. And the point is, we need to see that if the criminal justice system is inherently racist, we need to fix it, because United States of America talks about all the way back to the Declaration of Independence. All human beings, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. So, if that is the case, then why are African Americans being subject to such abuse? And of course, you might argue that is because of the history of slavery and discrimination. Honestly, but that's been 50 years since these last discriminatory laws were repealed, and yet the criminal justice system is still a racist. And of course, there's a lot of rap songs in the African American community, such as "F the Police," and of course, it's all about frustration of the racist criminal justice system. says that African Americans, when they're guilty of the same crimes as the whites, get punished harshly. I was watching a cartoon on this subject. When the white guy was given a warning for smoking pot, but the black person was given a jail sentence. Now, I should also point out, before I conclude this, that autistic people are also being abused by the police system. Kelly Stapleton and I forgot the other person was abused. And I know there's another channel, Oaks for Peace, when the person was abused by the Berkeley Police Department for protesting against police abuses in University of California, in Berkeley. So the problem is that the police are policing the general culture, but they're not policing people who deviate from the culture. People who are, maybe deviance is the wrong word to use, people who are, what's the word I'm looking for, not following the standard white culture. Which of course is ridiculous, because the police are not supposed to serve one particular section of society. They're supposed to serve the whole society. And of course we can talk about how the police officers in Seattle during the World Trade protests protected the World Trade Organization and not the protesters. So the question is the criminal justice system inherently racist, and is it capable of protecting each person in the United States of America, all 310 million people, in all 50 states, from Alabama to Wyoming and the territories, without fear, affection, or ill will? That is the real question that the Scott Walker trial attempts to answer. It's not just the trial of Scott Walker, it's the trial of the entire American criminal justice system.